All right, we just wrapped up the 2024 NFL Draft, and there was loads of excitement, massive amount of intrigue this weekend. 257 guys getting a new place of employment, and all of our teams just got a little bit better, but some more than others. I'm going to go through, give you my grades for all 32 teams, how I felt they did this weekend, my favorite pick for each team. Not going to give you my least favorite pick. I don't want to shit on a guy when this was probably the greatest moment of his life, but you might be able to figure it out from listening it to me. But let's just hop right into it, starting off with the NFC South. Okay, number one, the Carolina Panthers. Panthers had 7 picks this weekend, and I thought they kind of did okay. They tried to acquire some weapons, help out Bryce Young, but it left a lot to be desired. I'm giving the Panthers a C overall for the weekend. I just felt like there was so much more talent that they could have acquired. My favorite pick for them, their 4th round pick, tight end out of Texas, Jatavion Sanders. This is a big bulking tight end, was a very, very efficient guy and a key part in that high-powered Texas offense. Always love tight ends with young quarterbacks, so I think that's their best pick from the weekend. But all in all, just a C for the Panthers. Okay, the Atlanta Falcons here, 8 picks for the weekend, and I think you already kind of know how I felt about the Panthers draft. They got an F- on my round 1 grade for that Michael Penix pick, and they didn't get much better this weekend. They were reaching all over the place. Now, hey, sometimes you say go get your guys, but picking a guy that's probably going to be there 30 picks later when you pick is not a recipe for success. My favorite pick for them, my grade for them is a D. Pretty awful, one of the worst drafts, if not the worst draft anybody put together. My favorite pick for them was their 3rd round pick, edge rusher Braylon Trice out of Washington. They needed a pass rusher. They passed on pass rusher multiple times. He's going to be an instant upgrade for what the Falcons have put out. But all in all, just a disastrous weekend. I'm sorry, Atlanta fans, after a great offseason. Okay, next, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 7 picks for the Buccaneers. And I think Tampa had a great weekend. Really solid all around. Filled positions of need, not really blown away by any of their picks, but really, really upgraded some holes that they needed to upgrade. And I think they got really good value out of certain picks. I'm giving the Buccaneers an A- overall for the weekend. Really solid. My favorite pick, their 3rd round wide receiver out of the University of Washington, Jalen McMillan. Perfect guy. Plug him into the slot. That was his role at Washington, and he ran with 2 big dogs at Washington, so he knows how to handle that. He's going to have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin with him. Another nice weapon for Baker to help really round out this offense. Okay, and finally, the New Orleans Saints. 7 picks for the Saints, and what a fantastic weekend overall for the Saints. I'm giving the Saints an A. Every pick really solid, really great value, addressed a lot of positions of need, potentially got the next future quarterback for them after Derek Carr is gone with that terrible contract. My favorite pick for them, Talisi Fuaga out of Oregon State, their 1st round pick. I think he is a perfect fit for them, an elite right tackle, plug and play right away, really going to help out with their run blocking. And yeah, he's going to be a cornerstone guy for this franchise. Okay, now the AFC West. Let's start with the Denver Broncos. 7 picks for the Broncos this weekend. And after what I thought was a really bad pick of Bo Nix with the 1st pick, they had a really, really nice weekend overall, I think. Giving the Broncos a B+, actually. As much as I hate Sean Payton, as much as I can't stand him, they did a really good job. This is not a very talented team, especially on the offensive side of the ball, and they upgraded everywhere, it felt like. My favorite pick, 4th round pick. I can't believe he fell this far. Wide receiver Troy Franklin out of Oregon instantly helps out this awful wide receiver core. And for new quarterback Bo Nix, already has a good connection with him. That's a big, big plus in my eyes. Next up, the LA Chargers. 9 picks for Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers, and he absolutely crushed it. Surprise, surprise. The guy who just won a national championship in college comes into the NFL, and he knows how to evaluate these players, where and when to get these guys. An A+ for Harbaugh in his 1st draft in LA. Now, the Chargers have been known to win the draft before, but what an excellent weekend. My favorite pick, their first round pick, Joe Alt out of Notre Dame. They didn't panic. They weren't able to move out of 5. They get a cornerstone piece, play him at left tackle, move Slater over to right tackle. Joe Alt, I just feel like he has Hall of Fame potential. He is an absolute monster. A+ for the Chargers. Okay, now let's do Vegas. The Raiders, 8 picks on the weekend. And surprisingly, the new regime in Vegas, after the disaster they've had the last 2, really solid weekend overall. They didn't get a quarterback. That was probably the biggest knock. They needed to try and find a quarterback. But hey, man, I guess they're running with old Aiden O'Connell or whoever, man. Maybe Gardner Minshew. I just don't know what the Raiders are going to do at quarterback. But all in all, really strong weekend for them. I give them a B+. I think they addressed some areas of need. They massively upgraded the interior of the offensive line. That was my favorite pick, their second round pick, the center out of Oregon, Jackson Powers Johnson. A huge area need, maybe the best interior lineman, if not the second best interior lineman. Awesome pick for them. And finally, the Kansas City Chiefs, your 2-time defending Super Bowl champions, 7 picks for them. And this is how you build champions. A solid, very solid, if not awesome weekend for the Chiefs. They get good wide receiver help. They get defensive help. They draft defensive line. They draft secondary. It was all in all a very clean, very nice weekend for the Chiefs. My favorite pick for them, their first round pick, a perfect fit. Xavier Worthy out of Texas, the elite burner for Mahomes to hit over the top. Tyreek Hill 2.0. Okay, now it's the NFC East. Picking at number 2, the Washington Commanders. 9 picks on the weekend. It would be pretty hard to screw this up, but it is Washington. But they did an awesome job. Good job on Dan Quinn and his staff. They really put together a very nice draft. Overall, I'm giving them an A. Yes, the Commanders an A. I don't think anybody would have thought they would have heard that under Dan Snyder as the owner meddle in with them. My favorite pick, second round pick, defensive lineman Johnny Newton out of Illinois. This guy had first round grade in my book. I thought he was the second best interior lineman. He was awesome. The fact that they could get him in the second round, really awesome. And they had other great picks all over the place. I mean, Luke McCaffrey, just a really fun draft. And there's real optimism if you're a Commanders fan. Okay, the Eagles here. Eagles had 9 picks, and who would have guessed it? Howie Roseman cleans up at the draft once again. A+ for your Birds. They get 2 of the top 3 defensive backs without having to trade up, without having to move around a whole lot. It was excellent work by the Eagles. I can't believe it. My favorite pick, first round pick, cornerback out of Toledo, Quinion Mitchell. A huge upgrade to this beleaguered secondary. They set the record for the most trades during a draft with 9. So good on the Eagles, good on Howie. Excellent job, A+. Okay, the New York Giants, 6 picks for the Giants this weekend. Not a whole lot of picks, but really solid all around. I'm okay with the Malik Neighbors pick at number 6. You didn't have to go take a quarterback in McCarthy. Might have been a little high for him. Giving him a B+ all around. I guess we're riding with Daniel Jones, but you upgraded everywhere else where you really needed to upgrade. In particular, the skill position set, because it's pretty much a bare cupboard out there. My favorite pick for them, their second round pick actually, Tyler Newman out of the University of Minnesota, the Golden Gophers. Excellent player, number 1 safety on the board. You get him in the second round. Help out that secondary. You can never have enough DBs in a pass-happy league. B+ for the Giants. Okay, and finally out of the East, how about them Cowboys? 9 picks for your Dallas Cowboys, and it just felt like a super underwhelming draft for them. They talk about how they're all in the offseason, but they meant they're all in on the rookies and in the draft, and they didn't draft like they were all in. Trading back, not being aggressive. Now, they didn't do anything terrible, like anything outrageous, but it wasn't anything great either. I'm giving the Cowboys a B-. Pretty underwhelming, but they did what they were like the sensible thing is to do, but it's not going to help this team get better when they need it. They're in a little bit of trouble. My favorite pick, their third round pick, guard Cooper Beebe out of Kansas State. He's an instant plug and play guy, could play center, but really, really excellent ad for a Cowboys line that got really beat up in free agency. Okay, the AFC South, the Houston Texans, 9 picks for the Texans. No first round pick. They trade back with my Vikings. They get some seconds and some seconds next year. Kind of underwhelming after crushing it last year in the draft, but that's to be expected. You don't have a lot of holes. You've used a lot of your draft capital that you've gotten for Deshaun Watson to make those high picks trade up. So there really just wasn't a whole lot going on here. I'm giving them a B, solid, nothing bad, nothing great. Really just kind of the most average draft. My favorite pick for them, their 4th round pick, tight end Cade Stover out of Ohio State. Like I said, young quarterbacks and tight ends. Dalton Schultz was solid, but it feels like he's year to year. What is he? Stover can be the number 2 tight end, come in. He's very productive, like 130 passer rating when targeted at Ohio State. Really, really awesome upgrade there. Texans a B. Okay, the Tennessee Titans, 7 picks for the Titans this weekend, and another AFC South team that just felt really average. Wasn't a huge fan of their first round pick. Now, they got sniped, losing out on Joe Alt. Otherwise, this draft would have been a whole lot better. J.C. Latham is okay. Giving the Titans a B, just kind of very underwhelming once again. You had to get protection for your young quarterback. You have to try and see if he is the guy. My favorite pick, though, they did upgrade on the defensive line. I'm not a Texas guy, but they had a really good value for where their guys were taken. 2nd round pick, defensive lineman T'Vondre Swift out of Texas. Like I said, really kind of a game wrecker, wreaks havoc in the middle of that interior, and that's a super valuable asset to have. Okay, 9 picks for your Jaguars, and after what I thought was an excellent round 1, kind of petered out, really didn't do anything spectacular. In fact, I felt like they hurt themselves with some of their picks, not really doing anything to massively upgrade this team. We're ride or die with Trevor Lawrence, and that's kind of it. I'm giving the Jags a B. My favorite pick for the Jags, their 1st round pick, obviously Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver at LSU. I loved that pick, especially trading back and getting more picks, but they didn't do anything with those picks, so it kind of just fizzled out in the end. Good wide receiver, but other than that, kind of meh from the Jags. Okay, the Colts, 9 picks for your Indianapolis Colts, and really, really solid weekend all around. They get Liatu Latu in the 1st round. They get A.D. Mitchell in the 2nd round. Really, I kind of liked it, but it was kind of hard to figure out what my favorite pick for them was. Giving them an A, excellent weekend. Chris Ballard, he's a known GM that drafts extremely well. Shane Steichen was a really surprising good head coach last year. They get Anthony Richardson coming back, their number 1 pick. Should be a fun team. I'm going with their 5th round pick, Anthony Gould. He's a weird kind of receiver, blazing fast, elite special teams potential, and we got the new kickoff rules. I think this is an undersold value for guys. New kickoffs, lots of kickoff returns. Put some fast guys back there, and let's change things up. Okay, this might have been the best division all weekend. It's my NFC North. Man, excellent weekend. First up, the hosts themselves, the Detroit Lions, and we've become accustomed to Brad Holmes knocking it out of the park with these drafts, and he was solid once again. Only 6 picks for the home crowd Lions. Not great for them, but my favorite pick, giving them an A overall for the weekend. Really solid with those 6 picks, but trading up to get cornerback Terrion Arnold in the 1st round out of Bama was just an excellent move. They had a massive hole in their secondary. Their DBs were awful. Arguably lost them that NFC Championship game if they could hold on to a couple of those Purdy balls that should have been intercepted. They get an instant upgrade there. Well-rounded group of guys, and I guess we're just going to have to become accustomed to Brad Holmes is an excellent, excellent drafter. Okay, my Vikings are up next. 7 picks for my Vikings. Large gaps in between them, though. But all in all, very solid weekend. Thought they did awesome in the 1st round. Obviously, getting McCarthy, not giving up really anything, and then trading back up for Dallas Turner. Given the Vikes an A-, would have liked a little bit more addressing of the interior offensive line and the defensive line. Not so late in the draft, but good tackle pick, good corner pick. My favorite pick, obviously, it's their 1st round pick. It's edge rusher Dallas Turner, best graded defensive player in the draft. You're able to get him at 17. Didn't give up your 1st round pick next year. Excellent move for the Vikings. I'm excited. Okay, my hated Green Bay Packer rivals. Packers, Most picks in the draft, 11 picks for them. Oh my goodness. And they had a really solid weekend all around. Didn't love their first round pick in Morgan, but other than that, excellent day 2 and a really solid day 3. Giving them a B plus overall on the weekend. My favorite pick, second round pick, linebacker out of Texas A&M University, Edgerrin Cooper. Only good thing about this Aggie defense last year, it felt like he was a total leader, piece in the middle, wrecked games, can get after the quarterback, fantastic tackler. He has the potential to be the next elite linebacker in this league, and you're getting him at the second round. Awesome pick by Green Bay. Okay, now the Bears. The Bears, hard to really screw this draft up with having the first overall pick and the 9th overall pick. They did a really good job. Ryan Poles fleecing the Panthers, giving the Bears an A for the weekend. They only had 5 picks. They drafted a punter in the 4th round, but it's an Iowa punter, so he's great. Goated. My favorite pick for the Bears, too cliche to say Caleb. It would basically, it's whatever. We know it's Caleb. I really love the pick of Rome Odunze at 9. Excellent receiver. I think Keenan Allen's more of a rental. He was my number 2 receiver. I had him ahead of Neighbors Odunze, so love that pick. A for the Bears. AFC East time. The New York Football Jets, 7 picks for the Jets. And solid draft, you know. They take Oli Fashanu in the first round. They do trade back a little they trade back one spot with the Vikings to get some more picks. They didn't have a second round pick. They moved around. A- for the Jets. They were able to address some instant needs and upgrade at some areas to be good for next year. They kind of walked the line really perfectly. No pick epitomizes this more than their 5th round pick, my favorite pick, quarterback out of Florida State, Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis was lighting it up last year. Severe leg injury, knocked him out, was still a team leader, didn't mope, was there, fought for his guys to get into the CFP. Loved what I saw. And Aaron Rodgers isn't going to feel the heat from him. He's not going to be pissy. You set yourself up to learn under Rodgers. Feels like he's more open to that now because he knows his playing days are numbered. So excellent pick, A- for the Jets. Okay, Buffalo Bills, and kind of a disappointing weekend for the Bills. 10 picks for Buffalo. They kept trading back, kept picking up picks, and they really didn't do anything with them. Keon Coleman's okay as your number 1 receiver pick, but it's like, come on. I felt like there were better receivers there. We're not going to go into it. I didn't love their first round, and I didn't love their draft as a whole. They didn't address all the defensive needs that they have after cutting basically the entire defense. They really didn't upgrade enough at wide receiver. I would have just kept drafting wide receivers. C plus for the Bills. My favorite pick, though, that did like this pick, 4th round running back out of Kentucky, Ray Davis, elite pass catcher, led the nation in pass catching touchdowns, or at least in the draft class. He was the top receiving running back. Explosive guy, pairs perfectly with James Cook, with Josh Allen. Really like that Ray Davis pick out of Kentucky, but overall, kind of a, not great draft for the Bills. Number 8, your New England Patriots, 8 picks for the Pats, and they did a really solid job. They just went offense. They had to get some talent. They had to invest. They take quarterback Drake May with the 3rd overall pick. My favorite pick from them. Love Drake May. He was my number 2 quarterback. I had him ahead of Daniels, especially from a potential standpoint. B plus for the Patriots. I love the philosophy. You get Polk out of Washington. Just massive upgrades. Keep going offense. The defense is probably going to be good. They were good last year. Please help out your young quarterback. Great philosophy from a new regime in New England. All right, 7 picks for the Dolphins, and I can only think of Frank the Tank raging because it was not a good draft for the Dolphins. Chop Robinson is okay. Felt like kind of a big reach to draft Chop Robinson. He's decent, but didn't love him necessarily. Kind of just flat. They have no defense. They drafted some more offensive weapons because vroom, vroom, go the offense. And that was my favorite pick for them. 4th round running back out of Tennessee, Jalen Wright, a speedster, a good rotation back, maybe Mostert. He is on the wrong side of 30. We just see a drop in his production. You pair him and Devon Achane, who is got a banged up history. C plus for the Dolphins. Not excellent whatsoever. Okay, our last NFC division, the NFC West. Seattle Seahawks, 8 picks for the Seahawks, and a solid draft for John Schneider. No more Pete Carroll meddling with him, and I thought the Seahawks made all the right moves to help get this team better. They addressed some line needs on both sides of the ball. I liked it a lot. Giving the Seahawks a B+. My favorite pick for them, another Texas guy, Byron Murphy out of Texas, defensive lineman. This was the number 1 defensive lineman. He was there for them at 16. Easy pick. Loved it. Gave it an A on my first round grade. Solid pickup for the Seahawks. Be interested to see what they're going to do at quarterback. I heard they were interested in Michael Penix. We'll see how it plays out. Maybe it's Geno. Maybe it's Sam Howell. Maybe they're back in the market next year. But all in all, B+ draft for the Seahawks. Okay, the San Francisco 49ers, your defending NFC champions, 8 picks for them. And kind of not a great weekend. I'm giving them a B, just average all around. Like, I liked Ricky Pearsall out of Florida as the wide receiver, but it kind of signals the end of Brandon Ayuk and maybe Debo. I don't know what's going on there. Put him in as the 3rd receiver. Let them run this year. It's just kind of concerning. He's an elite route runner. That was nice for them. But all in all, nothing I'm crazy about. My favorite pick, their 3rd round pick, tackle Dominic Pooney out of Kansas. Not going to play tackle. He's going to play guard. That's a good guy that fits their system. He's an excellent run blocker. Not the best pass blocker in the world, but we know Kyle Shanahan. They know they love to run the football. So interior lineman, big fan of his. Okay, LA Rams, 10 picks for the Rams. Sean McVay actually took a 1st round pick, and it was a solid draft all in all. You aren't a Super Bowl winning coach without having the ability to identify talent, work with your GM, draft some guys. B+ for the Rams here. They've had some excellent late round hits over the last few years. Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams come immediately to mind. And I think another 3rd round guy could have a spark for them. Blake Corum, running back out of Michigan. Perfect scheme fit for the Rams. We know Sean McVay. He loves his running backs. Pair him with Kyron Williams, and we're talking about a deadly running back duo in LA. And finally, the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals with 12 picks this weekend. They had all the draft assets. They were picking guys up left and right. They stayed put. I was expecting them to trade back and get even more picks because it's the Cardinals. Really solid overall. Giving it an A-. I think they just drafted where they needed to draft. Marvin Harrison Jr. is solid of a pick. Just go take the wide receiver 1. Don't overthink these things. A pick I really liked for Arizona, though. Their 3rd round pick, running back Trey Benson out of Florida State. He was my number 1 running back. I know the running backs weren't as highly graded as they have been in years past, but still think it's a perfect fit. You pair him with James Conner. You have Kyler Murray. You have Marvin Harrison. You have Trey McBride. There should be a lot of excitement for this team in the desert. I'm really interested. They kind of overperformed last year, it felt like, while Kyler was out, and they were really feisty with Kyler. Very interested to see how the Cardinals do, but kept acquiring talent. Really good job this weekend. And finally, it's the AFC North, a juggernaut division, but some teams really didn't have a great weekend. Cleveland Browns, 6 picks, no 1st round pick for the Brownies. LOL Deshaun Watson. Giving them a C. I didn't think the Browns had a really good weekend at all. Kind of all over the place with draft picks. I was thinking they'd maybe draft a running back high. Jerome Ford wasn't really it last year when Nick Chubb went down. He was okay, but it's whatever. Kareem Hunt, good, whatever that is. Nick Chubb's coming off a major knee injury. He's getting up there in age, so I would have liked that for them. My favorite pick, 3rd round pick, Zach Zinter, guard out of Michigan. He's not going to play next year, so suffered a nasty injury at the end of the regular season for Michigan, but he has a very high potential. Perfect scheme fit for them. Michigan runs kind of the exact same offense Cleveland ran. At least they used to run. I don't know if they're changing things up with Watson because he can't learn play action and he can't run from under center. So maybe things are changing. But I think Zach has a huge upside potential, even though he's not going to play right away. The Cincinnati Bengals, 10 picks for the Bengals. Wide receiver Jermaine Burton out of Alabama, my favorite pick for this team. I think that's an excellent pick. Keep throwing wide receivers at the wall. T. Higgins requested a trade. You're not going to get it. Kind of a weird draft. We didn't get any of those players traded. We normally always have that, but really solid all around. Got some upgrades. You got a tackle to help protect Joe. Get some defensive players for Sweet Lou. B+ for the Bengals. Need to keep having good drafts because the bill is starting to come due for some of these players. You got to reload when you have the franchise quarterback in Joe Burrow. Baltimore Ravens, 9 picks for the Ravens. Really love this. This was just the most Ravens draft of Ravens draft. They seem to always get solid picks. They know what they're doing. This is a professional organization drafting all around. A for the Ravens. Just really great value all over the place. Tez Walker out of North Carolina. Really like that fit. He has really high upside potential. My favorite pick for the Ravens was their first rounder, though. Cornerback Nate Wiggins out of Clemson, a top-tier corner, immediate plug-and-play guy, help fix a very stacked roster. That's one of the few weaknesses on the team. You need to have guys that can cover all these chief receivers. Keep getting them. I think Wiggins has the confidence and the skill to instantly be an impact starter for them. And finally, last but certainly not least, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin up against the wall. Can he do it again? Is he out in Pittsburgh? 7 picks for the Steelers and just a phenomenal draft. Maybe the best draft of the weekend. A+ for the Steelers. Excellent, excellent weekend. Love their first round pick in Washington tackle and Troy Fautanu. I've been butchering that all process, but I love the guy. Could play right tackle, could play left tackle, could move to the inside at guard. Just great upgrades all around. But my favorite pick, 3rd round linebacker Peyton Wilson out of NC State. This guy had a top round grade, 1st or 2nd. Found out he doesn't have an ACL. That's not great, but if it's not career ending, you don't necessarily think it's going to be career ending. Can get that addressed and get him fixed up, so he may not play this year, but the potential is through the roofs. I know it's a little scary for linebackers and knees, but there's just way too good of a value to pass it up. But that's going to do it for us. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What was your favorite pick for the weekend? Who did you like? How do you think of my grades? Come on, let me have it. I'm sure a ton of you were pissed and some of you were very happy. I'm all ready for it. Ready to bait you guys in the comments. If you haven't already, drop a quick like on this video. Subscribe to the channel. We got new sports content every single day. If you want to support the channel more, sign up for a channel membership. You get exclusive access to videos, early access to videos, help support me, allows me to keep making this great content for you guys every single day. Again, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.